Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, going to be looking at the balance changes that I think desperately need to happen within the next update of Brawl Stars. So I'll be going through all of them, the buffs and nerfs needed to a certain amount of brawlers. But before we get into today's video, literally 2 minutes ago, as you can see in game, we do see a Brawl Talk being announced tomorrow. So 23 hours from that, well, literally 24 hours from now, actually, we're going to be getting a Brawl Talk. So big hype. Let me know down in the comment section below what your predictions are for Brawl Talk. I'm really excited for this. As you guys know, the Brawl Pass is set to end in like 10 days time, so around that time. So obviously an update is pending. So without further ado, let's jump into the balance changes I think need to happen. All right, guys, so starting off with the buffs, as I said, and I don't really want to go into like the main ones that are always brought up on the list, like the Shellys, the Leons, the Crows. We all kind of know that they're really bad in the meta, so I don't really need to go through their buffs and whatnot. But Primo is kind of like an, I won't really say underrated, but one that's not really spoke about too much in the community in terms of how bad he actually is. He's so bad in the current meta. I think he needs a little bit of a range buff or something like that, or a buff to his star powers. He's just utterly trash in his meta at the moment. He's in need of a lot of love, because it's so hard to push him. Literally every single map really doesn't favor him, and as I said, he only thrives when there's tanks in the meta, and I feel like tanks just won't be meta for a long time. So giving him that extra range might actually give him a bit more versatility and actually make him kill people. So I think that's a change that's needed. All right, next up for a buff, and I think this is a brawler that needs a huge, well, not really a huge buff, but is in need of a buff for sure, because he's been terrible in the meta for a while now, is Gale. Gale, in terms of competitive, you'll literally never see him, except for, I think the only one map I've seen him on is Split. Other than that, he's just really bad on a competitive meta. Just doesn't stand a chance in 1v1 interactions. So he needs one of two things. He either needs a super recharge rate buff, so he gets his super back much quicker, or he needs a reload speed buff, just because he doesn't really stand a chance in 1v1 engagements. But yeah, Gale has been really bad in the meta for a while now and is in need of some love. Moving into the next brawler that I believe deserves a buff is Carl. So Carl has been a strong brawler for a very long time until the last set of balance changes. Been around the top 5 for about 6 months now, so it's nice to see him not thrive in the meta. But Carl's one of them brawlers where I don't really mind too much how strong he is in the meta, just because he's not really a toxic brawler. Other than the gadget, I feel like we need to nerf the gadget and not his range. It's really hurt him in the meta. I'm looking at the win rates on Brawl Stats, and I'm looking across the play rates in terms of competitive as well. I've never seen Carl in a scrim within literally the past 2-3 weeks, and when the Carl is brought out, I'll say near enough every single time we're winning that game, because of the likes of Jackie, because of the likes of Mr. P countering too much, and Nita as well. His counterparts just play way too better than him, so I think give his range back and then nerf his gadget, else he'll become too strong, and I feel that's the correct way to balance Carl. Alright, so next up on our buff wish list is, of course, my boy Gene. Gene, one of my favorite brawlers in the game, and at the moment he just completely sucks in the meta. He's only really good in this siege meta. I've experimented quite a bit in scrims and just on ladder in general, and the only game mode that is actually competitively viable on, as I said, is Gene. So I feel like the first step we need to take with Gene is to revert him back to his old state, where you take him 3 big shots and a small shot to get his super. I feel like 4 big shots is just way too long to get your super. Sometimes it can take like a minute to get your pull. Like, that is just so long to get your super in Brawl, and then in the end you could just miss it, and then it's going to take you like another minute to get pull. Definitely needs a better super cycling. And then HP and his gadget, I feel like maybe they can keep his gadget. His gadget was really strong in the past. I don't really like it, but to balance him, fair enough. Maybe just give him a bad gadget, but he also needs his health back up a little bit as well. Then I feel like it'll be perfect. Right, so now moving on to Ems, another brawler which has basically not been in a competitive meta for such a long time now. So they can either go 2 ways about Ems as well. Everyone knows her gadget is really bad. Literally all of her counters can still counter because of the gadget. Before, when she was really OP, she had a really OP gadget, could just push them away all the time. It was so hard to actually counter Ems until we got rid of those gadgets. So you can either make her have a good gadget, or I would probably recommend, because they've increased a lot of different things about, I think they've increased the damage, they've increased a lot of different aspects about the reload speed. I think they need to increase maybe her health again, just because there's just other brawlers at the moment just can easily beat her lane, so she needs that little bit of firepower to beat her lane. So next up on the brawler wish list for buffs is going to be Amber, another brawler which I never see in scrims, in practices, even on high trophy ladder. Never a brawler I see whichever game mode I go on. So Amber's in need of a little bit of love. As I said previously when she last got nerfed, I feel like this should increase her movement speed again. I just love that aspect about Amber. You can think about it in Sandy as well. Sandy's movement speed is fast, and a lot of people forget about that, but it allows Sandy to juke a lot more. I feel like Amber needs that because at the moment she's a bit too much of an easy target. All of her other aspects are really good. She's got a super that can cover the field. She's got basically like unlimited ammo. She's got really good versatility. It's just the speed aspect. She just gets countered a little bit too much, especially against brawlers like Mr. P. That can just completely wreck her. Jackie can just run it in a straight line. She just doesn't deal enough damage. I hope Amber receives some buffs in the next update. So lastly, on the buffs that I believe need to happen in Brawl Stars is Brock. So Brock, you guys probably know that Brock was one of the best brawlers in the last meta, and they've nerfed him to the ground. I felt like I still went the wrong way about this. Probably still nerf his gadget, because his gadget is still so strong, breaks up so much of the map. Maybe nerf his radius on the gadget for sure, something like that. There's a lot multiple ways you can nerf that gadget, but I feel like they need to buff his HP back. I don't really like Brock being the same HP as Spike, for example. I feel like he was in a perfect position to be a bit more of a higher HP long range brawler, because you've got the same HP as Piper as well, and Brock just doesn't serve that purpose anymore. You've got brawlers like Colt that can just deal so much more damage than Brock. He's got such a slow reload speed, and his shots are so easy to dodge, so I don't feel satisfying now that it don't deal a lot of damage as well. So probably revert those changes and then nerf his gadget a little bit more. Right, so first up on the nerf wish list for brawlers, of course it's going to be Byron. Byron is absolutely insane at the moment, especially as a brawler. You can literally use him in every single game mode, and if you're good enough with Byron, you can basically 1v3 a lobby, especially against long range brawlers. He's so versatile. He's got so many different good options about him, and to be honest, I'm not sure 100% the best way to nerf Byron. I'll probably just say nerf his stacking mechanic, because the fact that you can stack loads of different poisons is just such a toxic trait for Byron, because if you think about it, you can heal and deal damage to the enemy at the same time. It's just a broken mechanic in the game, so something needs to change for sure about him. Maybe nerf his gadget as well. He heals a bit too much HP, because when you're about to take him down, he can just use an ammo and gadget up and basically get back to full HP within no time. So a lot of different aspects can change about Byron to make him weaker. I'm just not sure the best way to go about it. So next up on the brawlers that are in desperate need of a nerf is of course Edgar. The main reason for this is because I just feel like Edgar's skill cap at the moment is a bit too low, just because you can just pop the green button, the green gadget, and just get your super straight away. I feel like it's not as rewarding. You haven't really got any other brawlers in the game that aspect that you rely on your gadget and your super to get it straight away. I know Edgar without super isn't good at all, so he does need that little bit of help to get his super, but I just feel like getting the free super off spawn is a bit too cheesy for me. You need to actually earn that super, in my opinion, just because, especially in a 1v1 situations, Edgar's going to be winning so many different ones. As soon as you jump on a brawler, you're going to be winning that interaction. I'll say probably 40 brawlers he's going to be able to win in a 1v1 engagement, so it's just super annoying the fact that someone just no skill, as I said, can just press that green button. So I would say nerf the gadget and then go about balancing him in different ways once we see how good that gadget is nerfed. Okay, so next up on the nerf list is Mortis, and you probably don't see too much Mortis about at the moment because there's so many Edgars. I don't like the play style of Mortis and Edgar personally. I know a lot of people, it is fun to play, but not fun to play against at all. Can be super frustrating because these two brawlers personally can just constantly suicide over and over again for pressure. And a lot of the times, people that play these brawlers don't really have many brain cells. They don't care about the interactions. They're just going in straight away to try and get a kill. They don't mind if they die at all. So yeah, same with Mortis with Edgar. So I would probably nerf his healing again. I know they've nerfed the mechanic and the fact that you can't chain off like Mr. People, so for example, or like a turret. You can't actually heal off that with Mortis anymore, but still 125% healing off a single brawler, and a lot of times you're just going to be chaining off the brawlers itself, and it's just so much healing. And yeah, I just feel like it needs a nerf in that aspect. Okay, so next up on the nerf list and in need of a huge nerf in my opinion is B. It's just a green button again, the gadget. I just feel like you shouldn't really have a gadget in the game that just can be so rewarding as this. I know it probably got brought into the game just to get a bit of pressure on the field, but the fact that it can deal so much damage to the enemy team without you really having to do too much and it being too hard to dodge. So you can either go two ways about it. Make it easier to dodge. Again, they tried to actually nerf this mechanic beforehand, but instead probably made it easier for your bees to hit people. So maybe nerf the mechanic again, make it really, well, not really simple, but much easier to dodge, or just nerf the damage. Maybe just make it that it only deals like 1.5k damage across the board, just because it pushes the enemy team back and can deal damage without you even having to shoot. You can literally press the green button at the beginning of the game, 3 times and just basically kill everyone in the lobby. It's insane. Okay, so next up on the nerf list is Nita, and I know she's only literally just became meta currently with the last set of balance changes, and she was one of the worst brawlers in the game beforehand. But Nita in the meta is super toxic. I don't like the fact that you can cycle bears so quickly, and the amount of HP you can have with the healing star power, it actually is insane. You can just keep cycling bears over and over again, and it makes it really hard for brawlers. For example, like I said earlier with the buffs, Cove to thrive in the meta, just to cycling the bears way too much, to be honest. So you can either go 2 ways about this as well. We can make it more hits to get the Nita bear in the first place, or you can nerf the healing on the bear with meat style power, because you never really see hyper bear anymore. You never really see stun. So you can also nerf his her gadget as well because of how strong it is. So there's multiple ways you can nerf Nita, and for sure either way is going to be good. So next up on the nerf list, and I'm definitely hoping for a big nerf to 8-bit pretty soon. So the main way I believe this should be nerfing 8-bit is probably by making it more shots to get his turret initially, just because it can be really easy to cycle your super over and over again. I know we relies so much on his turret, but it's just so annoying how much control you can have with that turret. And also, the damage buff from 30% to 50% was probably too much of a buff for 8-bit, especially considering all your teammates can get that damage buff as well. It's kind of insane to me. You can absolutely shred so many different brawlers in the game if you're staying inside of that turret. It's just amazing to me to see how much damage output can get on that field. So yeah, 8-bit has been one of the worst brawlers in the game for a long while now, so they should be nerfing him, but not too much because it's still kind of like 8-bit in the middle. Okay, next up on the nerf list is Mr. P. So Mr. P is a super versatile brawler, and that's probably the main reason why he deserves a nerf, because of the fact that you can use him pretty much everywhere at the moment in the meta. So the main reason why he's meta is because he's got a buff to his damage. I feel like this should revert his damage just a little bit, just because he can win so many different gunfights with his damage now. But also, as I said, you can even use him as a mid, you can use him as a lane. I wouldn't really say he's the strongest in today's meta, so he's not one of the brawlers that need an immediate nerf, but just his pure mechanics anyway in general can be really frustrating if he's a meta brawler, so I would say just nerf him a tiny bit. Okay, so moving into the final nerf that I believe needs to happen in Brawl Stars is Jackie. I feel like Jackie at the moment is just a bit too strong. She deals a little bit too much damage. There's so many different brawlers now that have changed the interaction with her that she can just get down so easily. I've seen her in so many different comps in competitive, in ladder as well, and it's so hard to actually stop a Jackie when she's got her 3 gadgets. So as I said, you can either nerf her HP. She probably has a little bit too much HP at times, and then you also have her damage as well. It's kind of insane how much damage she can output. Okay guys, it's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of my nerf and buff list in the comment section below. Obviously, as I said, there's a lot of different brawlers which I talk about a lot of times in this video, so I'm not really going to repeat myself too much. For example, like the likes of Shelly, Jesse, Leon, Crow. I'm always talking about buffs, so I'll try to switch it up a little bit in the buff list for sure, but let me know down in the comment section below what you think. But that's going to be the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.